how do you identify like the right people to be in that tribe? Because like you probably get 1,500 messages a day. I get quite a few messages a day. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, how do I allocate time effectively towards something and not fucking waste my time going for coffees all the time?
Well, again, I think it all starts with your belief system, right? And if your belief system is organized and orchestrated in such a way that it helps your decision making process, like the choices that you make, align with your goals and the results you want out of life, that's where it all starts, right? So for example, I get emails and DMs from people asking me to do a podcast, with them, for example, like, what we're doing over here. Okay. Well, how big is your podcast? What's your reach? Who have you interviewed in the past before? Sort of thing. These are the questions that I want to know, because if I'm going to dedicate 90 minutes of my time that I could be used to writing another chapter in my next book, finishing a course that I'm working on, developing video ideas, doing one-on-one consults with my private clients. Like if I'm going to take time away from that, then there has to be some payoff to it, right? So
Mhm.
I understand that everybody starts somewhere, and you have to get the ball rolling. But for guys at my stage of the game, I have to be very selective with my time. I'm not a young man anymore. Like I'm not 28. I'm like there's less life ahead of me than what there is behind me already that I've lived. So I have to be very, very selective and fastidious with who I choose to spend time with.
And that's why I want to say a massive thank you for choosing time to come on my podcast. I
Thank
don't
you.
take it lightly, man. In terms of what do you think were the main skills that really helped you the most, or what did you kind of focus on? Because what I like about you is that you're not really abrasive. You're very calm and collected, and very like I don't know. You approach things in a very like gentle way in some regards. You're not very like loud and obnoxious, even though you get your message across really well. So how did you kind of position your skill set of like sales, marketing, even like how you present yourself?
You have to be able to control your emotions as a man. You can get emotional and loud, and there's a time and place for that. Like I do get loud sometimes, and I do sometimes
In your
get
car.
emotional, but I do it in a very precise and tactical way when it's only necessary. The calm and collective man that you see today is not the same guy that you would have talked to when I was 25 years old. When I was 25 years old, my hair was on fire, riding sport bikes at 1,000 miles an hour, doing stupid shit that would have has probably potentially killed other people. Right?
Mm.
I was a speed demon. I've always been fast, and I've always, for example, like on the road rage. This topic that you hear about today, guys like
Mhm.
me would have gotten road rage if the guy would have cut me off in his BMW when I was 22 going to my college courses, for example. And I think one of the skills that you have to learn as you expose yourself to successful people, network with these people, one of the things that you realize is they don't get emotional, they don't get shouty and loud all the time, right? There's a time and place for it, and controlling your emotions is an incredibly important skill that you have to learn when to deliver certain ideas at a louder volume with some enunciation. Like there's different ways to handle certain things. And again, that wisdom comes with time, unfortunately. So I've had to put in the time to get that. But, here I am today, sitting before you in that condition. You have to evolve, is basically what I'm saying. Like as you grow and you expose yourself to life and culture and different ideas, you have to learn from them, adapt and take what works for you and add it to your belief system so that you make better choices to get those results that you want. Um, People don't paint very clear pictures in their lives. Like if people that want things would actually sit down and create a vivid vision or a painted picture of the kind of life that they want. Business coaches do this a lot. So I had a business coach in the 2000s, 2006, 7, 8, or in around those years. And one of the concepts that we created for the business was a painted picture. And you paint this vision for the kind of business that you want to run, the kind of profit margins you want, the kind of awards that you want to be recognized for, the kind of staff that you have, how you envision your customers seeing you, how the public sees your business. You create this very clear picture, and now that you've got this clear picture about the kind of life, the kind of business that you want to run, now every single day when it comes down to making decisions, you know what the end result looks like, you know what Z looks like. So AB through Z can now easily be constructed because you know how to get to Z, because you know what Z looks like. It's very clear. right? So if you find yourself doing things that doesn't lead to Z, then you stop doing them,
Yeah.
right? A very simple way to sort of put it is, if you launch a ballistic missile and you know what the target is, there's wind factor, there's the rotational, forces of the earth, there's gravity, these all these things that play on the direction that a ballistic missile will travel. But a ballistic missile is going to be programmed to hit a certain target. Wind moves it, gravity pulls it, rotation of the earth, does something to change its trajectory. It's constantly making adjustments. As a man, you have to constantly make adjustments in your life. You have to learn, right? And then adjust, learn, adjust, learn, adjust. And I don't think enough guys take that seriously. They're way too busy wrapped up in their head. Guys get wrapped up in their head about the dumbest shit ever. Like, oh, my girl is talking to this guy. She has a guy friend and I don't know what to do. And I don't want to seem controlling, or I don't want to, try to enforce boundaries because that would seem like strange or weak or something like that. And it's like, no, absolutely not. Why are you wasting energy worried about that shit when all you need to do is set a boundary and say, I don't date women that hang out with their exes. That's
Mhm.
it. She wants to hang out with her exes. See you. Bye. I'll replace you. If you're going to be that kind of gal, if that's who you are, that's fine. That's cool. Not a problem. I don't waste energy on things that are unnecessary, but guys consume themselves with it, and they'll stalk them and they'll look on social media and they'll see who likes the posts and the comments, and they'll click through and see what guys are like. Women do this a lot too. This is a very feminine type of behavior,
Yeah.
but I see
Yeah.
a lot of guys doing this now too, because they don't know how to handle women. They don't know how to have frame when it comes to a long-term relationship with women. They're very bad at this sort of stuff, so they get wrapped up in the wrong shit. And it's like, dude, no wonder you're poor and fat. You've been
Yeah.
spending all your time being betatized by this chick who you're completely in her frame. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't admire you. She doesn't look up to you. No wonder you're having difficulties in life.
That focus that you've had, or being able to like stay calm, is the reason why you've been so consistent in everything, because you don't lean into like shiny penny syndrome. Like, fair enough, you might identify the next opportunity, but you don't like fuck off and do something completely random, which I see time and time again. And I'm not like shitting on young guys. It's just the fact that like that's called niche hopping, and you probably might see it on Twitter. People
Mhm.
swap from this to this to this to this to this. Like for me, I spent 3 years podcasting. My business
Yeah.
around it, everything is just one thing, right? I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. I don't want all this other stuff. And funny you say this now, because one of this kind of startup that I'm an advisor on, or I was speaking to him last week, and we were talking about everything, all focus, right? Focus, focus, focus. And he was like, "Yeah, but I have this other opportunity that I'm thinking about doing, thinking about starting." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! This is the reason why you chase two hares, you catch none, or whatever the fucking expression
Right.
is. You need to have that singularity focus."
Yeah.
And I've learned that the hard way, right? And I'm not saying this from a up here perspective. I was working 9 to 5. I was trading. I was doing a coaching thing. It was all bollocks, all waste of time. But when I brought it down to one central team, that's when my life started to improve. And
Mhm.
that's where that's where I see the next part. But it's meant to be boring though, right? I don't know. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Is that like when you're building something, it's meant to just be, you have the goal, routine,
Overnight
and you
success,
follow it.
like every single overnight success, everybody that's been labeled as an overnight success didn't sleep at night, sweated, bled, there was tears, there was heartbreak, there was betrayal. All of that stuff along the way is all dismissed and ignored and invisible, because all they see is Lambo, private jets, beaches, Dubai, girls, bottle service. That's what they see. And they don't realize that everything that led up to that is usually a decade of sacrifice and hard work.
Yeah.
But most people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to do the boring hard work. They're not willing to do that work because it's not sexy. You can't post a lot of that on social media and get acknowledgement or get validation for it. It's all these invisible choices that you make every single day that lead to the results that they got, which look like an overnight success. Overnight successes don't exist. Every single overnight success is at least a decade of work, usually.
This was a short clip from Kickoff Sessions podcast. Go check out the full episode right up here.